And with that, I have the pleasure of introducing the baddest lieutenant governor in the land, our Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller.
Good evening, Maryland Democrats. A shout out to Table 11, AstraZeneca. Thank you for everything that you do for the great state of Maryland. And I got to give a shout out to the guy who stole my heart over 36 years ago, my husband, David Miller. But before anything else, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for electing Wes Moore and me to be your Democratic nominee for governor and lieutenant governor. And congratulations to every Democratic nominee who earned the support of all the voters. And to everyone who put their name on the ballot, thank you for your willingness to serve. Know that democracy needs you. Now it's time to come together, unite as one party, and win in November. Thank you to everyone who made tonight possible. Team MDP, all the Democratic Central Committee members, our brothers and sisters of labor, and everyone who volunteered and voted. Thank you. So tonight, we are so honored to have President Joe Biden. Are we not? Yes? So given the fact that the president is here, I wanted to share a story about who President Biden is. So here's the story. On August 15, 2024, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris came to Prince George's Community College for an event. And if you've ever been in a photo line, not like the one today, with the president, they're really strict with the rules. You hand over your phone, you hand over your purse, you hand them your name card, you walk up, you shake hands, you smile, you take the picture, and they push you out of the room. And the White House staff will tell you, whatever you do, do not have a conversation with the president. So naturally, as I stood next to the president, I started a conversation. I said, Mr. President, today is my mom's birthday. And so he says, really? And he calls one of his staff over for the phone. He's like, what's your mom's phone number? And I looked at him and I said, Mr. President, I don't know. She's on speed dial in my phone. And he's like, okay, well, maybe you should go get your phone. And I said, I'll do that, Mr. President. So I dash out of that room. I go over to the table where there's probably 100 cell phones. I'm trying to find my phone. I find my phone, and I call my mom. And I'm like, she's not picking up. Now, mind you, my mother lives with me, right? And so fortunately for me, my daughter happened to be visiting that weekend. And so I called her up. I said, Chloe, where's Grandma? And she's like, she goes, I think she's taking a shower. And I go, a shower? It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Get her out of the shower right now, right? So she goes over there, knocks on the door. I hear my mom. I go, Mom, someone really special wants to wish you a happy birthday. I don't tell her who it is. So then I'm trying to dash back into the room where the president is. Secret Service stops me, and they're like, ma'am, you're not allowed to go back in there. I go, no. You don't understand, sir. The President of the United States said to come back to the room. So they start doing all their walkie-talkie, radio signals, whatever it is that they do. Finally, after a few minutes, they let me through, and they're like, okay, man, proceed. So I go back into the room. I hand the phone over to the president. He takes the phone, puts it up to his ear, and I tell him my mom's name is Hema, and he says, Hema, this is Joe Biden, and I just want to wish you a happy birthday. He's got the phone there. And after about 20 seconds, I see the president's face, and he looks really confused. So he takes the phone, puts it down, and puts it on the speaker. And I hear the other side of the conversation. My mother is saying, "Oh, Mr. President, I think you and I must have known each other in our past life. It is reincarnation." And I'm like, is my mother talking about reincarnation to the President of the United States? Yes, she is. So then the President hands the phone over to Vice President Harris, who's so kind, gets on the phone and says, "Hello, Auntie, this is Kamala Harris, and I just want to wish you a happy birthday. And just want to say also, we are so proud of your daughter." To which my mother replies, "But you are much, much, much better." That's Mom, right? Always looking for signs of improvement for her middle-aged daughter. So, Mr. President, I will never, ever forget that spectacular day. Thank you for making an 86-year-old birthday girl feel like she was the center of the universe. You remind us what public service is meant to be, because servant leaders never become too important to make one person feel really important. Thank you for sharing your generous heart for the past 54 years. And the best leaders like you do great big things, but they also do small things, like stopping what they're doing, including a photo line, to make you feel seen. I've been fortunate enough to witness that same spirit serving alongside Governor Wes Moore. Now, Governor Moore, as you all know, is an Army vet. And the Army has a saying, "We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day." That is the truth, let me tell you. He gets up before the sun comes up. I know, because I get early morning texts from him, and I'm not a morning person. He keeps going long after most people have called it a day. I know, because I also get the late phone calls. But no matter what time of the day it is, his focus is always the same: Maryland, and how to make Maryland better, expanding opportunity, keeping communities safe, ending childhood poverty, and standing up to Donald Trump, right? But just like President Biden, Governor Moore also understands that leadership is deeply personal. I remember Father's Day of 2024, just a few months after the Francis Scott Key Bridge tragedy happened. Instead of spending the day with his own family, Governor Moore stood beside the families of the 6 Marylanders we lost on the very waters where their loved ones' lives were taken. There was no press, there was no cameras, no headlines, just the governor making sure those families knew they were not alone. That's who our governor is. And it's been the greatest honor and privilege of my life to work beside him, serving the people we both love dearly from the great state of Maryland. So Democrats, let's make some noise for the 63rd governor of Maryland, Wes Moore.